All right, so this is a quick little lesson on how to configure tank treads to work properly in University War. Okay, so basically in the game, or like in the program in 3ds Max, what you want to do is assign your tread with a material. Okay, and this is mesh bump colorize as the material. You have the tread material and the bump map, whatever. That's fine. Okay. Um, but in order for it to have tread physics, the objects need to be named tread R for right tread and tread L for left tread. Um, and this having that name is what applies the tread physics. So you combine this material with these names, and that basically makes it to where it just works, like the treads work. But I was running into this issue where the treads were going backwards. They were going up like this, and I could not for the life of me figure out why it was doing that. But now I have. Wheels use the hierarchy tab, and they are affected by the pivot point. So wherever the pivot is, changes the direction of the wheel and how it's rotating, but it doesn't work that way with treads. Treads use a different physics. They rely purely on the UV map. And this is how you can imagine it. Let's say you have your object, you unwrapped it. I'm reusing the tread texture right here. So whenever this is just common Blender knowledge, but imagine that you are working with a material. In order for you to apply that material, you click this add button right there. It adds a material, and then you press this new button and you load an image texture. And this is being loaded as a PNG. I converted the DDS into a PNG, click this image texture, um, and loaded that image. That's pretty much how that works. And it's just using this patent tread texture right here. But imagine you have your UV map, and this didn't have to be Smart UV Unwrapped or anything. This is just the map itself right here, and you grow it. And basically, imagine, if you will, whenever this effect is being applied, this is moving from left to right. So whenever this comes across, this is what it's going to look like, your animation, when it's playing in the game. So whenever you align your UV map to the texture of the tread, you want to make sure that it is aligned in such a way that it will rotate the correct direction in the game. So again, from left to right. So you can tell that that is what the tread is going to look like when you port it into the game. Now, obviously, you're going to want to take a closer look at here and align it properly. Also, something that I am not doing at the moment that I should, you need to grab both of these objects and then go into edit mode and then configure this. Or depending on how you're modeling this, maybe you did the UV for one tread, you used a mirror modifier, and then you put it on the other side. That works too. But you're going to take your UV and you're going to align it like this. So whenever it's moving from left to right, the tread is going to be going the correct direction. There we go. Making sure that everything looks good from top to bottom. And I'd say, yep, we can export it. So let's say that we are importing these tread objects into the program. I'll demonstrate how I do that. So uh, what we're going to do is we're going to hide everything except the tread that we need. And we're going to click File, Export, Wavefront OBJ. This is the left tread. Then we're going to export the right tread. because 3ds Max 9, I don't believe recognizes multiple separate pieces on a model. If you keep all of this together and then you import it, it's going to mix all of those objects together when you don't necessarily want that. And yeah, you can edit it. You can go in there and you can split the objects and give them different textures and whatever else, but you probably don't want to do this. So you have your tank. I'll just save my project, so all that's fine. But yeah, now we're going to go to our tank, and let's just pretend that we're porting in the treads. Normally, this would probably be scaled to the correct size, but we're not going to worry about that because I'm just going to rescale it anyways. We're going to click import. We're going to import our left tread. Then we're going to import our right tread. We'll call this tread R. And then for the other one, we want to call it tread L. And again, when I made the tank in Blender, I did not make it to the correct scale or size. So what we can do for that is we can go here, and I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees to match the orientation of the tank, if I can do that. So click this, 180, boom. And then the scale, I can click on the tank because I scaled this up and I didn't reset the transform. So I can just grab this number and I can apply it here and here. Then I need to adjust the position. So I'm just going to take this and put it here. And again, all of this is because I did not scale the tank to the correct size or orientation when I made it in Blender. So if you already did this, if you already like imported an object from the game and then you compared the scale and the orientation and you built it with that size and scale in mind, then you wouldn't have to do this when you're importing. But in this case, I do have to. But there we go. So we have our treads, and then we're going to go here and we're going to select our tread texture with these configurations. Just drag and drop. And now it should be good for a test. File, export this as the tank, as an allo file. I'm going to save the project as well. Then we'll copy these over into our mod and see how it plays in the game. This is also a patch 2 mod I'd like to point out because patch 3, at least in its current state, is incapable of supporting the tread physics or the tread logic. But patch 2 does, so that's why we are configuring the tank in here to make sure the treads work. Oh yeah, and you need to reset the transform. Because right here, you see how you have the tracks on the ground? That's because the transform of the tread object needs to be centered to it. But as you can tell, the treads are moving, and they are moving in the correct direction. So if you go back into here, what you want to do is grab your tread, and then you're going to go to the hierarchy tab, and you're going to open this, so effect pivot only, and you see how the orientation is like this. We're going to want to center to the object. So you want to center this, You want to center that, and then we change this. We can move it down to 0 on the z-axis, like this. And since it's getting it from the transform, since it's getting the information for the tank tracks from the transform, they're going to spawn at those positions.
Armor at the ready. Making tracks.
So now that should be spawning on the ground. Yep. And that's how you do it.